level. They were discontent with their performance on the first 2 days, but I believe that having won versus Envious yesterday has maybe cemented their confidence and allowed for them now to come into this semifinal with that little bit extra bit of an edge, Hugo. Obviously, the individual talent there on that lineup can be so incredible at times and not always map dependent, but the maps is what will decide this series, and it's going to be Space Soldiers banning Nuke, GODSENT banning Cobble. I think that makes absolute sense. GODSENT felt content to play Nuke yesterday. Space Soldiers don't tend to touch it, and Cobblestone could be arguably the Turks' best map.
I was about to say, I wonder who's going to pick Cash in this series, because I think both teams want to play Cash. For Space Soldiers going for it, I imagine Mirage will be the pick of GODSENT coming into this one, because GODSENT were actually looking at demos, going over demos, I walked past them, of Space Soldiers on Cash. So they were expecting and hoping to play that map. Obviously, Space Soldiers are going to want to touch it as well. It is their second best map. And yeah, of course we're going to see Inferno as a final one. I don't see Overpass being a pick here. Although GODSENT, you know, not strangers to the map, but I imagine Inferno, while it's usually the decider in most best-of-3 series, and this event's been no exception, it certainly will be again. This is a perfect matchup. Yeah. This is such a good map pool for these two teams. Mirage, one of GODSENT's best maps. Space Soldiers going for Cash, which they're so strong at as well. Obviously, we've got the veto of Cobble coming in, but we're straight in, Connor. No more waiting around. Right into the first semi-final of the day, we've got Ukraine versus Fnatic up later. Fnatic dominated Russia, their counterparts, earlier on in the playoffs, and now they're looking to do the same to the Ukrainians. But that's a story for another time. We're here, Turkey versus Sweden, and Knife Round the way on Cash.
Of course, the beauty of Cash being that regardless of which side you set, you can sometimes still be the dictator of aggression, right? We saw that with GODSENT yesterday. Remember, GODSENT 16-0 versus Belgium. Flawless CT side. We saw straight away they were going for counter boosts in the opening 3 rounds. Then they started pushing A main and B main simultaneously with either 2 players or 1 player on the opposite side of the map. But they did so together, right? Never actually shying away or giving any room for Belgium to breathe. And because of that, they would sail their way into victory lane.
And something interesting here is they know that Space Soldiers could have watched their previous game versus Belgium. So instead of going for that CT side that they were so dominant on, they stick to T side. This is interesting because, again, we haven't seen it. We saw that pistol yesterday. That was it. Space Soldiers have no information to work on. And you know, as I said, when I walked past GODSENT, they were looking through the setup for Space Soldiers to through the demos on Cash. So actually, GODSENT are going to be coming into this one fairly prepared, I think. This could be a good chance to take it away. I wouldn't be surprised if Space Soldiers took the series coming into today, but now knowing the map, now knowing the side that GODSENT are picking on Cash, hell, anyone's game. Connor, thoughts coming into Cash, who's going to take it?
I can't help but feel like GODSENT's incredible performance yesterday will give them a good fight, but man, Space Soldiers on Cash, Hugo, I know better.
Yeah.
I'm going to say even keel, 50-50. Depends on momentum, depends on who hits shots to kick off this morning. It is early here in Barcelona, and yet it is still beautiful. Let's see what happens with GODSENT coming into the pistol on the smoke and flash for Freddy B. Of course, some utilities on Engine, defuse kits, and Terra's going to get caught in the open. Still able to jump back into the Z connector, but he doesn't actually fall off. He comes in for a fight, and he takes himself 3 frags. Bomb in the open. And well, I said individual plays. There's one for the highlight reel.
Yeah, certainly. Shut down by Space Soldiers. Only 1 player left and no armor. He flashes into the site. Does get the kill onto Calyx, so damage, but he's got to follow up with a massive performance here. This does not seem realistic. Bomb down a middle player coming from behind, and he's being circled on the site as well. Freddy B, he's left with nothing to play for. And Space Soldiers, they're not even playing too aggressive here in this situation. They're just holding on. They know they don't need to hunt down this final kill. This round is theirs as long as they play things standard. And Freddy B, another player spotted, another player tagged, but Despe will finish off the round. 1-0 here for the Turkish side on their map pick.
I mean, that's done the moment Xanteras gets that 3K, which is incredible considering, of course, that he was nearly caught out in the open. Had he just been a little further exposed, then I think that the aim punch would have slowed him down, not afforded him that space to get back into connector, and possibly allowed for GODSENT to then stampede 3 players up from mid, and, of course, push him back. It did seem like they wanted to maybe split into that A site using Highway, or at least get that forward mid presence in order for them to then fall back and decide, seeing as to where they made contact. But, man, was contact ever made through 3 of their brains. Xanteras blasts them. And now, of course, GODSENT going to be going with 4 men on Squeaky, 1 A main. Just the old desperation plant is what they're hoping for. But Xanteras yet again straight through the smoke with an M4. He continues the spray down and finds 3 frags for it. Bomb in the open. Engine already starting to clean players up. And Twist, because he's desperate, will just plant inside the smoke. And that too denied. I think Xanterra's had himself a good breakfast.
Definitely. 7-0 right now. I mean, 6 kills above everyone else on his team, looking so good. Major's not even seen anyone. He's got a little bit of an assist, and that's it. This has been a clean start for Space Soldiers. Disallowing the bomb plant as well from GODSENT means now they have to go for the full eco. But not only that, when they go into their buy, utility will be the biggest issue. 2K coming in, 2400. They'll have rifles, but they won't have the AWP. Maybe not with armor, actually. Twist has been saving. He didn't buy it in the previous round, so they could get it up to 10, but Xantares again, he's not stopping. 2 kills there with the M4. Nade in, pistol out. Space Soldiers another clean round. To be expected there. And now we see the buy come through. And Twist, he does get the AWP just with armor, but with no utility.
So the buy does include an AWP for Twist, and we're not going to see an AWP for the CTs just yet. Look at this, 10-0. More kills than everybody else combined in the server. Of course, it has been difficult for GODSENT to find footing without having a purchase of their own, and that is no longer the case, right? We'll see if the CTs keep up their aggression. They go 3 mid early, 2 towards B. They're wanting to try and take this portion of the map control, but Disco Doppling can spam smokes, and who's he hit? Xantares. Then, of course, Despe to follow straight after. Pith in mid does not get anything for his efforts. And Space Soldiers shut down earlier on, but Major could bring this back with at least the kill onto the bomb carrier. That gives him a little bit of positioning towards A main, and as he falls off towards Squeaky, Disco Doppelin can't find him. Now this is curious because it gives time for Engine to come in from that B bomb site, right? The CTs were incredibly split, but now they could pinch onto the bomb itself until Doppelin shuts it down. Major, sure enough, could maybe find another frag, and he does towards the Opper, but 1 versus 3 with that plant coming through. This one looks like GODSENT's.
Does indeed, but don't count him out. Major's had some great games so far this event. That certainly won't help. Shot through the wall into the head. Freddy B will find Major dead. It's GODSENT with the first round on the board, but Space Soldiers still cash to buy up after having some flawless anti-ecos, not giving a shred of hope to GODSENT. Buy can come through and double AWP. That's big. Both Despe and Calyx pulling them up into the first buy, up against GODSENT. Well, we still have Twist on that AWP to contend with. Space Soldiers are looking good for the time being, ready to get that reset, ready to get themselves a nice bit of momentum and lead into this game. GODSENT, it's early presence towards B, early presence towards A main again, and Pith just holding on to the middle position. Nothing too aggressive from the GODSENT side, other than A, but the smoke's down. That will stop them from making presence and trying to fast burst this bomb site. Again, without the bomb, they were far from committed, so they'll fall back into a standard setup. Boost into mid, Twist looks for a pick.
So Space Soldiers clearly not trying to set as fast as a pace of the previous round. They realize, of course, GODSENT can bite back. Engine's got to be cautious. He just dodges the shots there from Pith as he uses the Molotov on boost. Of course, that Molotov in and of itself did take the Opper downwards, but Freddy puts him straight back up. And still Twist will look for his pick. So definitely relying on that AWP right now from GODSENT in order to find map control in mid. And Engine is not one of the 2 Oppers for the other side. In fact, that Molotov could keep him back here. He's just going to jiggle peek the shoulder. That's going to leave it Engine versus Pith, but remember, Twist is so close there.
Ooh.
And oh my goodness, significant damage dealt coming out from Squeaky Door. Hampus nearly sandwiching those players, and Xanterra is taking the place of Engine, seeing as he was tagged down to 15 HP. Despe, he'll find the opener. That's on the op. And Disco Doppelin can't hit his shot into the bomb site, so a little bit hesitant, yet still fully flashed. Twist will find his frag. And now Despe's trying to get closer because Xantares is down, so a 3 versus 3 near sight, and Twist with a crucial kill. But straight back from Engine, leaving Pith to try and cover, and Engine hits another. He's hit so low at the beginning of the round, but Twist now hitting his shots. 3 frags for him, 2 on Engine as he gets closer to the bomb site, tapping it the first time. Twist has to round this over, and Engine up close, plays with his food just to take it. Op shot to find Twist through the edge of the wall. That, dear friends, is Space Soldiers back on the board, and with the player who was tagged early on.
And he could have been finished off as well from that peak up on the forklift, right? We saw him get peaked. We saw damage be done, but it wasn't enough. 4-1 up. What a ridiculous start for Space Soldiers. What a round for Engine. Twist may have pulled it all his way, but it's not enough. He's got an AK now solo. 3 kills on the man, all from the previous round, as GODSENT looked to try and open up a bomb site with that one Catalyst rifle. Everyone else is on pistols. Pith does have armor, so he can take that gun if, in the case of Twist's demise. We're back on the single AWP for Space Soldiers in the hands of Calix, not quite Despe. Taken into account, Despe is standing in this event for Paz, so there's obviously a bit of a shift in roles in that sense. He does like the AWP, but so does Calix, hence why he hasn't. Xantares again starting things off. Gun dropped for Twist, but picked up from Pith. The bomb retrieved. Xantares just doing more work. He's going to find himself a second, almost a third. It's Despe to take it. Quick peek from Pith. Does land one shot, but again, they're solo down. He's in a 1v4 now. Got to pick up the ace to find the round. This round's looking undoable. And Bomb's behind him, and that's exactly where Major's pushed up. Calix even holding the connector. Nade out, forces him into the open. But damage not been done by Calix. He can't finish off the job, but he has his teammate coming in for support.
He's anticipating these peaks as well. Just wants another kill, and he at least gets one. But Calix using that opportunity to get out from connector, put himself on the small ramp, and catch Calix, or Pith rather, off guard. So, all right, GODSENT. The single AK not working out the way they would have liked, but that's perfectly fine. It was still the disadvantage. This is where they're back near even keel. And luckily for them, they're not walking into the double op setup as seen prior. This is just going to be Twist versus Calix still. A little bit less utility for GODSENT than they would have liked. It's only 3 smoke grenades and nothing else, but Pith trying to spam the smoke as Twist finds the opening op duel. That was towards the B site, and it actually left B open for the taking, at least for a moment. We do then see Space Soldiers peel both of their mid players back towards the bomb site, putting Major in it. Major retrieving the AWP eventually. Swapping guns with Despe, that makes sense.
GODSENT turning back towards the A side of things, it seems. Xantares is alone here for the time being, so this could be dangerous. We'll call for the rotation. Major moves back in from the car, and so does Engine as well, just holding the outside of the CT spawn, but GODSENT actually splitting it up into middle. And with one player outside of B, well, this originally looked like the A play. This could certainly turn into a B split, just with Pith's position, but he falls back. And with the bomb making its way up towards A main, GODSENT do look to take this A bomb site. They need to find another pick, maybe. Can't afford to lose a player here. Freddie B may be spotted as he falls up towards the highway. Won't be taken down. Back off of mid. Xantares flash into main, gonna get set up. He goes in, nice shot. Flash works perfectly. 2, oh, 3. That is dirty. Xantares mows down the entirety of GODSENT, and it's all on Freddie B and Disco Doppler to pull things back. 2-on-3. Make it a 2-on-2. They do it. They got one more step to go, and Despe's already trying to deny. The bomb down in main, but Disco Doppler looks to retrieve.
Disco can be an incredible clutcher at times. This will be a good test for him. Despe, though, posted up, but misses the shot. Now, Xantares with the 3K is inside the corner. Disco Doppler's trying to clear them. He spots it. It's up close. They'll duel, and Xantares is going to take it.
Wow.
A 4th frag to his name here in the round. He is on one. 17-3 at the moment. Still holding more kills than the rest of his team. Still Hugo at the 8th round. 1,655 total damage dealt. Look at the increase of damage there. Sure enough, it stagnates in the 4th round when the T's actually win one back. I believe he was the first frag of that round. But straight after, he's coming in, firing on all cylinders, and putting GODSENT back into pistols. 2 sets of Kevlar, and no utility for them to work with. And if they were walking into a single opera, as we saw before, that'd be one thing. But no, it is a bomb site with 2 players in it. Calix has cover. Major has the trade. That's 3 frags for him. Even he can do work at this point. He's got the rotation of Engine, but that's been quelled. And then Major dies here. So a bit of a question mark as GODSENT get themselves onto the bomb site with 2 players still up, both of which near half HP, both of which with retrieved M4s. But the frag grenades are going to deal enough damage to kill Disco Doppler, and then Freddie B from headshot is quickly cleaned up. It's GODSENT with a valiant effort, a nice attempt, and at least a plant 4 set efforts.
I'm just shocked at the 18 kills in 8 rounds. How often do you see such a start for Space Soldiers? And for Xantares specifically, he is known to be this explosive player. But again, we have this conversation here. Calix is certainly a man who can do the same as well. However, this game, 2 and 5, he's not needed. Xantares is the only man needed to step up, and it's certainly enough as Space Soldiers lead this by a heavy margin. GODSENT back on the buy, and the double AWP's pulled in after that bomb plant, but double AWP, T-side, how much effect can it really have? We've got the same story on Space Soldiers. Both look to bring in those cannons. And Calyx fast down towards B, looks to make the peak, as does Freddy in mid. Smoke down, unable to get anything early on at least, and GODSENT there not gifted this first free pick. Space Soldiers use their utility to keep these T's out of the sight, at least for the time being. And playing passive on the A bomb side as well. Focus towards middle. 3 players here essentially, including Major in the vents. Good defense towards mid, and GODSENT with heavy presence here as well. Maybe look to exploit it, but they don't know exactly what they're walking into. That's dangerous.
So we do watch GODSENT going back to what they were trying in the opening 5 rounds there, with Twist on the boost. Everybody spread thin. They literally have 1 man per position. Not finding much early footing except for that Engine's forced back, and Twist just misses his opportunity. He clears beneath him, and then Xantares wins the duel despite being on the AK. Twist's missed shot then becomes a missed opportunity that Space Soldiers shall exploit. Now, Hampus jumping past by Squeaky Door would have a pretty clean run towards the A site, but he gives up the opportunity because Xantares rotates over. And having been spotted above, he decides to go below. Flashbang out as Despe hits a shot and just extends this man advantage to a 5 versus 2. Hampus finally getting something done for GODSENT, and because the bomb's so close, they might just commit to this execution. They keep it simple, but like you said, time the issue. Pith now just down to the 1v4. A little bit of footing through the flames here with 15 seconds left. They may think he's actually trying to save when in fact he's close enough to find this plant because he's just going to need to clear the second man. That is Despe down, and in the nick of time, Pith 1 versus 4. And he gets in his plant. Now right now, CT's disjointed and Pith with another. A single-handed clutch for GODSENT is what he'd need. Calyx posted on the ops, gonna just round this corner, and that's enough. So damn close, so beautiful. But at the final hurdle, he falls, and GODSENT still stagnate on 1. Silver lining, a little damage done.
Everything going from there as well. We look at GODSENT coming into this event with 2 standings, with both Pith and Hampus playing for them. And, you know, to be honest, we've had these games where Hampus and Pith have both stood up, or stepped up, sorry, and had great performances. Good start for Pith to get some confidence early into the game, although I say early, it's 8-1 up. Usually this should be fairly split considering the matchup and the map as well. Good map for Space Soldiers, but this is not what GODSENT shy away from. And yes, they had a flawless game on it yesterday, but as we mentioned earlier, it was the CT side that they got the damage done. A clean 15-0, only to take the pistol in the second half. And now moving over to their T side, they're having huge struggles. 1 buy is all they've picked up. And Space Soldiers, they don't even have the most money as well. It shows the damage being done by GODSENT at the very least. You know, we've got a UMP in this round. But still, it doesn't seem to be a limiting factor for Space Soldiers. GODSENT are back on the buy again. AWP in the hands of Twist. And same story for Calyx. Interesting to see him upping over Despe at times, but it's certainly working. 8-1 up, and GODSENT, they set 2 players up towards B fast. Antares, again, the man of the hour, kicking things off for the kill. Rotates back towards A with the smokes going down from GODSENT, but it's far from a commitment. In fact, the bomb and 3 of the players are outside of B. Engine's here. He's got to be ready. They don't have a Molotov for the back box. They've got to clear it themselves at least, but it's all down to timing. If he gets flashed from the site, although Calyx doesn't have one, Engine will just have to take a dry face if GODSENT do walk down here, but he just plays passive towards the back boxes. GODSENT, they pull back Disco Doppler from A. He doesn't have utility to fake the site. He may as well come here for the commitment, and they won't check it. Noise made by the player at the back, but he's still going to wait. There's the push from Hampus. Now the peek out from Engine, 1 kill as well. Bomb dropped, information gained, but there's still plenty of players from the GODSENT side up.
Ooh, Engine's in fact taking a lot of the attention away. Twist can't really help on the bomb site. Disco Doppler with a crucial 2K. He is trying to come in for Vent, and he's going to find a 3rd. Multi-frags are capable by GODSENT, but Xantares still stands, and that's dangerous in and of itself. However, he will disengage from Heaven. Maybe try to wrap back from Vent. Even if the round doesn't go his way, seeing as he doesn't have the kit and that the defuse makes it difficult, he could do some serious harm to GODSENT. So in this case, yeah, it's exactly what he'll do. He'll concede the round over, but just try to get behind B main so that assuming GODSENT exit away from his last known position, he could have actually mowed them down. But you know what? The money's not good. Despite 5 rounds consecutive from Space Soldiers, I just now realize he needs this save. He himself only has 450. Nobody else on his team can really be that bank. So here we have it. GODSENT with another. Crucially done there by Disco Doppelin, clearing up 2 players from mid, not allowing for Space Soldiers to get any kind of vent control or wrap around on the retake. It would have forced Space Soldiers to have played from CT in heaven, and that's just not going to cut it. Obviously, then Disco Doppelin killing those players eliminates any chance they have in the situation. But a little part of me looks at Xantares at 20-4, looks at his team not having anything around his AK, and still thinks they could do this.
We've seen many teams do it before, Connor. It's definitely not an impossibility here, but with lack of armor on anyone else from this roster, it's going to be difficult to throw this gun over to anyone else. Xantares has to go huge, and he's boosted up. Got a position into middle just to spot, with GODSENT going again into B. This time they just walk on through. Flash into mid, no utility from this T side into the site, and they'll just walk on in. It's for free. They haven't worked it out just yet, but they're about to. The Space Soldiers have fully rotated their team back towards the other side of the map. GODSENT being given this free bomb site. The plant can come through as well, and then there's the round pretty much given up by Space Soldiers. I imagine we'll see this AK saved into yet another, as the other pistols go in either to protect this one gun from being saved or go in for hunts. Try and catch exit frags. Xantares can certainly assist in that, and again, they can just bring guns forward. At least for now, one more eco is all that's needed. Next round can be the buy for Space Soldiers, hopefully. And they'll just boost him up and defend him. I like this as well. Just hold on to the gun. No need to hunt too heavily. Make sure Xantares survives. And GODSENT, no pressure on them to go for the hunt. They want to start to build up their own money. They know Space Soldiers are eco, given the stack, so there's no reason to chase down just lone players with P250s.
This is like the most elaborate and efficient Squeaky save I've ever seen.
Yeah. Really
even in a 5-man save towards Squeaky, they've got players on every crossfire, so well held on to, but GODSENT content to just let them have that AK. Of course, that's money denied versus GODSENT as well, who don't have it really stacked up as of yet. Of course, a round like that will be perfect. Look, nobody invests more than $1,100 for the side of GODSENT. In fact, 4 of the 5 do invest just that amount of money. Replenishing grenades, really? And all right, GODSENT, starting to make something of this, right? You think at first Space Soldiers starting to establish themselves very early on. Xantares just playing a level above and beyond. But it is starting to become in question. Now, we've got GODSENT with 3 players early at that B bomb site. The other 2 just keeping players honest, using utilities and keeping them at bay. Curbing the enthusiasm of Space Soldiers, but look at that. Calyx with a kill and an assist, thanks to Major helping out from the bomb site. That's going to put GODSENT now scrambling back into B. Because they had no mid-control, Space Soldiers come over quickly. Disco Doppelin's not going to find that 3K like he did in the previous round. Engine flashing his way back as well, so definitely trying to remove any opportunity for GODSENT to get them back into this.
And this utility usage is so good from Space Soldiers. Every flashbang seems to be connecting, every GODSENT player being blinded and held back. And not only that, but it denies their options of getting repicks, because Space Soldiers now not committed. GODSENT's utility has been baited out on the T side, and they're going to continue to use it, but Space Soldiers still hold the double checker setup. This is so strong with the bomb down in the open. And the fact that they can get away with throwing a player towards the back box so many times and still not get Molotov'd out when GODSENT had the utility this time is huge. But look at this. Engine close in the smoke. They're about to wrap on through into the middle of the site, spotted by Major, and that allows Engine to strike. Peeks out, 1 kill, and damage done onto Twist, or Doppelin as well. Twist tagged up in the meantime, 1 shot with the AWP. He's found 2 so far, but he needs the ace. And with 20 seconds left, it's not realistic. Falls on back. Space Soldiers, another round on the board. They save in the previous, but the buy cobbled together certainly works out this time. And while Twist looks for just a couple more exit frags that he should find, but doesn't, it wouldn't make a huge difference, as GODSENT are going to concede this round regardless. And Space Soldiers up to 9-3 on the CT side. It's slowly tapered off from what was a flawless 6-0 or 6-1, but this is certainly still a dominant game for the Turkish.
Yeah, certainly. They're definitely getting it back into their hands. Could have been very even. And that now looks like it's been denied. You know, Twist not getting that op shot into the checkers does allow for Space Soldiers to keep 3 men alive, and obviously 3 can buy 2. No AWP in play, though, from Space Soldiers, and there will still be that of Twist. Maybe we watch GODSENT try and use him to crack open a portion of the map. We had seen those boosts on mid earlier on. Currently, though, he will be more patiently pushed back. Major not getting pushed back off of his initial position. He's actually got himself up into B main, behind the boxes, so he will still need support. If he could get into the backyard, then that would be a whole other thing that allows for his teammate to rotate away. Sunroom, that is. But look at this, just as Freddy B gets himself into mid, it is Major to push up. He's hitting this flank timing straight on the head. And Xantares, applying pressure on A main, actually focuses the players into mid. Major hits his flank, finding the man, just then falling beneath the boost. And Twist, he's tasked to come find this, but a great flashbang allows for Major to keep himself standing. He's just behind them still, even inside of the smoke. This is such a distraction that we see movement elsewhere. But Disco Doppelin stops it. And with that, GODSENT back into the 4 versus 3. They know, of course, by clearing the flank, they can head out towards that B site, but Calyx finds the flank. Man, oh man.
Back in. Oh, shot from Calyx, bomb dropped, and that's giving them ample time to rotate on through, but watch out for mid. Hampus is still there as he runs into the connector. He may be able to just take down Despe from behind. He does, and that now opens up an opportunity for GODSENT because Calyx is sandwiched between two Ts. He come in for the flank. Doppelin going to go for the plant, but he's running out of time. Nice shot from Hampus, but Xantares trades now to the 1v1. Low HP on Doppelin, and an SMG on Xantares. Perfect for this kind of fight, and he finds it. Of course he finds it. It's Xantares. Another round on the board for Space Soldiers. And what a ridiculous game this is. We look at GODSENT yesterday on the CT side up against Belgium. They have a flawless CT half of 15 rounds and close out the game 16-0. Now they're getting a taste of their own medicine. Getting beaten and bruised on their T side. This can't be fun.
That round really does come down to the timing from Major. Again, he was positioned inside of that corner earlier on, and you could see that he was curious to try and get towards Sunroom. Had he made first contact with the GODSENT player that was positioned there, then that's one thing, right? He gets the kill, maybe he falls back. At least GODSENT are aware of his positioning. But because that player falls off B main, assuming that for at least that next 5-second period it'll be clear, Major gets himself behind them at the perfect of moments. And yet still we get into the 1 versus 1. So GODSENT's plan was disrupted, momentarily at least. Now in the 14th round, they'll have Twist on an AK, Kevlar and pistols for the remainder of their lineup, and their eyes set on A. But in fact, Space Soldier's not going to contest the bomb site itself. They'll use Xantares towards Toxic. We've seen him spray through a smoke before. That very same smoke comes out, nullifying Despe. With a moment's delay, he then does put some rounds down range, a frag grenade as well into the bomb site, but that won't do any damage. In fact, GODSENT will find their plant in a 5 versus 5.
And that's important as well because it allows them to get money for the last round of the half. This isn't a round they're expecting to win, but they just want that cash to try and pick up a 4th round. It's a little difficult, though, to hold on at least. Doppelin's found a gun. The engine's tagged up, but still Space Soldiers have the manpower moving back in for the retake. 2 in through main. Timing, flash goes through, and Major with damage. Molotov can force out the player from the back, but it's Hampus with a 1-dig. He's actually going to find this. 2 as well. Looks for a 3rd from the forklift. He gets it. Hampus carrying them through. Leaves Major alone, and time is low. He's got to make a play as he jumps straight on the bomb. He's going to stick it. They stray through, and it'll be enough. Pith cleans it up. There was no time to play for that fight. He had to jump on the bomb, and GODSENT, they survive with both players, so they keep the guns forward for the final round. That's so important, because Space Soldiers don't have the money. Yes, they've had a dominant half, but these rounds have come close. We look to the round 2 rounds ago, where Xantares picks it up in a 1v1 with an MP9. Damage is being done by GODSENT, and it's going a bit of the way, at least in the sense that now they can get a 5th round on the board, potentially, assuming they play their cards right.
Those kinds of rounds as well, you're thinking maybe a bomb plant, maybe a couple of kills to come off of the AK, but when you lose that single rifle, it puts a lot of pressure on the pistols. Generally, we look at the retake to come through, but Hampus just carries them. Excellent deagle play from him, and yet again, Major trying to use that corner to find himself an opening. Gets himself a kill, but then he is effectively traded straight back, and unfortunately for Space Soldiers, their buy not as great as that of GODSENT. That Molotov will push Despe into the open, and that's a clean kill from Pith. the plan going to a T until Engine gets himself up close on the smoke, and Disco Doppelin pops him. Very well shot. Xantera's next to fall thanks to Hampus, who gives cover to the bomb plant, and now Calyx to clutch. 1v4. With a Deagle, I think not. And with a flashbang, I think even less. Gives him a little bit more time to try and work this angle inwards. He's been spotted, so that's confirmation, and yet he still gets a kill, but only stands a moment longer. GODSENT with 5 here on the T side, and looking at the scoreboard, they get 3 of those in the final 5 rounds. That's definitely a nice back opportunity. Excuse me. That's actually just not an updated scoreboard, Hugo. They get 3 of the last 6.
Still good enough.
4 of the last 6.
4 of the last 6, I was going to say.
Quick maths.
Thank you for that, Connor. Never do maths on stream, but it's enough. GODSENT, 5 rounds. They can certainly make this one possible. Again, pistol's going to be so important, as always. But right now, Space Soldiers, they're impressing me. 10 rounds on the CT side. Look to go to their terrorist half that they are so effective at as well on cash. And full armor coming in, so nothing too intricate for the Space Soldiers side. As GODSENT, they have just one utility player as usual. We're going to see Space Soldiers set up towards the A side of the map. Maybe a fast boost. They could just go for this quick mid play. Potentially, they boost Major up, and also something coming out as well on the top. 2 players here for the CT side. And with no Molotov, twist position is going to be dangerous because they can't shut him down from the sandbags. Freddie B as well in the Z connector, and Space Soldiers, hey, they had the success on their pistol round from this exact position. It was Antares with 3 kills of the P2K. Space Soldiers certainly have to watch out for this.
I'm curious to see how these decoys come into play. They do have 3 of them, so we've seen some plays this weekend whereby a group of Ts will burst, make contact, confirming that, yes, there is 3 or 4 players in a position. Then they drop decoys, and they fall back as quickly as they can, just trying to then sell that moment's notice of a fake. Right now, it's, of course, Twist spotted towards sandbags and popped by Xanteras. Remember, he got a crucial 3K in the previous pistol from the position of Freddie B. And Freddie looks to now replicate that success, but Xanteras having peeled himself off of boost for now, keeping an eye towards flank. And Space Soldiers playing this in a very calculated fashion.
And GODSENT as well, not overfacing in this position. Freddie B could just be wide peeking, but instead he gets wide peeked. Major quick with the pistol, and now Space Soldiers in a good spot. 5 on 3, they give up the A bomb site. Pith rotating off into the CT spawn, and Major gets more. Now Space Soldiers can burst out empty A bomb site as Major just cuts off the rotations in the CT spawn. He's looking for everything. 3 kills him right now. There's only 1 man left up, and that's Disco Doppelin. He may be on the B site, but he's so far removed from the action. This round is going to be Space Soldiers. Oh, 1 shot in, but this shouldn't be anything more. Tapping away. There's 2 players there. Good luck. Engine cleans up with a Glock. Not the best at range, but when there's 2 players, that's enough. And Space Soldiers, that's a face they'll be making.
A round whereby Space Soldiers use that boost of Xanteras to find the opening kill. You could see the setup from GODSENT trying to use the man on sandbags to make first contact, allowing for the swing wide from Z. But then, of course, once Xanteras gets the 5 versus 4, we watch Space Soldiers just slow things down. They were hoping maybe GODSENT would make some kind of a play, that they would spot some kind of an ambitious move, and yet, because they hesitate a little while, they decide, let's take this into our own hands. And of course, it is the push from Major that does it.
Freddie B on the other side of the smoke. Major passive as well after that original smoke down, while GODSENT send a player deeper in, so Major still holds. The issue is if they go towards B, they'll eventually have to clear out the sunroom. That can be an issue. Space Soldiers are at least aware of the potential, but Freddie B, he's not stopping with his push. He's going to go all the way into the T spawn, and he gets the kill as well. That's an AK dropped. While he's tagged up in the process, it's a massive pickup, but he's being wrapped from the T spawn. Unlikely to expect this quick position, because T spawn is this kind of area is a position that's rarely used as well. So you typically watch towards the mid rotation, not the full wraparound. As Antares just styling on A as you would expect. 2 kills, make it 3. Why not? Shutting down the hold for GODSENT and 1 player left standing.
Yeah, you can see, of course, once he gets that long-distance fight, the player from site tries to peek it, tries to trade it. Even at a distance, those pistols can deal damage, especially when you had Pith just next to Forklift, right? It's like, sure enough, the truck player didn't have much chance. Second man maybe trades, third man's closer. They get incrementally closer and closer to Xanteras, and yet he just isolates them 1 versus 1 versus 1. And now finds himself 3 kills short of 30. 40 frags combined between Xantares and Major. 27 of those on Xantares himself. That's an impressive performance so far, but they're not done yet. They're definitely getting closer, and this round should definitely not go the way of GODSENT. They have zero investment. Full vanilla.
And every player on GODSENT combined only have 6 kills more than that of both Xantares and Major. That's a weird stat. Nothing you see typically, although nice shot from Pith does shut down Xantares in middle. Shouldn't affect too much, you would think, but Doppler comes in again with the pistol, looking for a second, but Engine's there. Nice spray down, cleans it up. So GODSENT, they will fall after a little bit of damage. It won't go a long way. 13-5. This game is starting to fall out of their hands. This is their last attempt at trying to save it. They lose this, they're into a position where Space Soldiers have 14 and GODSENT. They either have to play for the 15-15, which is unlikely, or they force their way to an early loss, which is what I would expect, unless they can pick this gun round up. But 2 AWPs in play. They ran this on the T side a little bit, didn't have any effect. CT side is where it certainly can. We saw Space Soldiers do the exact same thing on both Calyx and Despe. This time it's only Despe. And down towards B they go. Twist is alone. He pushes on the other edge of the smoke once again. For Space Soldiers, early presence shown, utility used, but they won't commit.
Because, of course, Space Soldiers aren't able to skewer any defense in those opening 20 seconds, it's afforded Freddie B the opportunity to get boosted. And boosts on each side here as Disco Doppler will be set to duel versus Despe. Actually, no. They'll change positions. Despe is going to go join his teammates towards that A site. It was Engine positioned towards Squeaky early on. And Freddie B with the one-off, not actually standing in the depths of the boost, but rather the light fixture. Allows for you to spot players in A main a little earlier on, but also allows for you to fall off of this in a much easier fashion. Of course, he crouches, doesn't get spotted, and sprays for 2 and 3. Freddie B from above. Then traded straight back by Engine. Xantares taking 1, but it's Engine now to start clearing up this bomb site. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the bomb, and yet he's able to cross. Disco Doppler not finding the angle into the site just yet. As the bomb's been retrieved, Engine gets back onto the site. Could argue he shouldn't have been afforded any of this opportunity, and he does take one through the edge of the box. 1 point of health now to clutch in a 1 versus 2, and Twist knew that damage was done, so he will then use his sidearm to finish it off. Hugo, Freddie B locks it down. Nice positioning and good timing on the crouch, allowing 2 players to go past and then cleaning up the men on the back line.
And they've been afforded a lifeline as well near the end of the game, or at least it could have been. Now it's a different story, as the money is the issue for the Space Soldiers moving forward. GODSENT can certainly pull their way back into this matchup on the CT side. If we think back again, their T side has been underwhelming, but it was their CT side versus Belgium that was so strong. So assuming we can see the same kind of ability from them coming into this map, it could certainly work out. And here's the aggression that we saw yesterday, fast into main. However, Space Soldiers get the better end of it, and they'll maybe find another pick. It's just Twist here. He can't connect the shot. Mollied out, naded out, and dead. As Doppler's now the last man up, Space Soldiers have quickly hit that A-bomb site. And as soon as GODSENT get around on the board, it looks to be reset.
It's one of those situations whereby GODSENT want to play their own CT side. As you said, they used that CT aggression versus Belgium yesterday in order to establish the 16-0. But unfortunately, right, you don't want to change up your game plan simply because you're playing scared. You still need to do your own strat, and that was to push in aggressively. Unfortunately, kind of leaves you worse off than not. All of a sudden, Space Soldiers on 14 because they win that initial duel, because they were prepared for such a push. And yet, had they never gone for it, then they were already allowing for Space Soldiers to assert themselves. So their hands are kind of tied, especially now that they have offered this round over to Space Soldiers. And with Disco Doppler between all of the T's, he may find a parting gift. But more importantly, he saves that op. So minimal money for GODSENT. Utter success on Space Soldiers.
We're there for Xantares, though. 30 kills.
Look how high. Look how much higher above everybody else he is.
Crazy stuff for Xantares, but I can't say it's a surprise.
No, it's not. I mean, again, we made this argument earlier in the weekend, right? Like, sometimes it almost seems like Calyx is one of the better players. And then all of a sudden you get this kind of a performance from Xantares that I don't think Calyx can ever really replicate. Like, this is that next step above and beyond. And then some.
Well, Kalik shows in consistency, Zantares shows in madness, and that's certainly this game for him. As he looks to carry them over the full distance, Hampus has already opened up, with a gun dropped and a kill taken. GODSENT not in too bad of a spot, but that gun retrieved from Space Soldiers. They push it away. And 4 drop towards the top as well. GODSENT, they're hungry for kills, and they want to take this man advantage again by storming even further. They're 5-on-4 up. Space Soldiers aren't giving them an inch. They're holding back so passive, so if GODSENT walk up forward any more in this main position, it's dangerous because it's being held by Despe. So he pushes up closely. Pitt's actually going to follow up, and this is where Freddie B could throw away that 2-man advantage, but instead he does the opposite. He makes it even better. A 5-on-2. A round that GODSENT should not be winning, but to keep himself in this map at least, they're doing well enough. It's Twist with another Deeg shot, and every 1v1 being won by GODSENT.
This isn't supposed to happen, Hugo.
No. One of those rounds.
Some would call it an anomaly. I call it impressive. Nearly a team ace. At Disco Doppelin found an op shot, but it's Freddy to double down. And that's GODSENT now on 7. So a bit of a lifeline.
Yeah.
And a situation whereby not the entirety of Space Soldiers will be on a full buy if they even opt to purchase, which they will.
You definitely buy in this situation.
Yeah, of course.
The counter is then you eco, and then what's the point, right? You have players maxed out on money while others can only just get AKs in a couple of rounds' time. Instead, just equal out the money, make everyone back on the same page, and you do that by forcing. They have such a round lead to play with, there's no real reason to throw in an eco. They can certainly win it. It's been 3 force buys in a row they've actually won, or 2, sorry. So both teams counter resetting the others. Certainly doable again for Space Soldiers, despite 2 pistols in play, and I like it. They throw over a gun to Zantares as well. Make sure he's got an AK. I certainly agree with that decision.
Now, of course, with Space Soldiers having these 3 players at the B-bomb site, and with GODSENT also having 3 on the defense, we see the exchange of utilities and the retake approach to GODSENT on A. They're not trying to force any gunfights on the bomb site, so this could actually allow for Space Soldiers to find a plant. And depending on how these fights go at B, they may find something even more. But Disco Doppelin stops it with 2 frags of his own. Major with the CZ starts to rotate over, and of course there's the free plant. So distraction made, plant successful, and now the retake in question. It's going to be a lot of truck control. And in fact, Major comes in late from B. If the players on the bomb site can slow these CTs down or just kill them in their tracks, why not? There comes Major. Space Soldiers, their plan goes off to a T. Fantastically done. It's one thing if you just get your plant. It's something else if you then find the after plant so easily. Not a single terrorist dies once that bomb's gone down. Major is the insurance policy, wraps from the B site, and there you have it.
And the best part about Major is he wasn't even needed there. Zantares finds 2, but on the flip side, say he doesn't get that kill, right? Say the players on the site die. Major's coming in from such a long rotation that GODSENT are never going to expect it. They're going to be too busy focusing on both Squeaky, main, positions where Major should likely be playing, but instead he long wraps Car. So he would have surely won that round anyway with the open bomb plant. It's just so good, as you call it yourself, insurance policy, and it certainly was that. It's 15 rounds taken for Space Soldiers, a double CZ, triple AK buy works out, and now we have GODSENT really fighting against defeat in the first map. The map pick of Space Soldiers, yes, but a map that GODSENT don't shy away from, and one that they perform dominantly on this tournament. To see them only on 7 rounds here, and them having a good couple of chances at the CT side after winning buys, forces, etc. This is underwhelming. Space Soldiers need to close this out before GODSENT get themselves back into play, but is that even going to happen? That's the question, at least for GODSENT. And Space Soldiers, A setup, standard. Hampus close to the squeaky door, and Space Soldiers look to execute onto mid. It's only a fake. They're only boosting up, and they're going to be sending the bomb through main.
Hampus charges inwards, and that's a crucial kill to Engine, because now he gets himself a gun, and he could then skewer the offense if they try to push in from a main, where Hampus has stopped another. But Despe trades back. And the CT's clearing out mids, now going to leave Space Soldiers desperate for positioning. Can Zantares single-handedly clean it up? This is what he does, but Freddie B stops him. And Despe's now going to have to find himself with a 3K, and Freddie takes it. So GODSENT now just going blow for blow with Space Soldiers. You can see GODSENT on wobbly legs, and yet they are throwing punches right back. And a punch that leaves Space Soldiers stunned because they're not going to be able to buy. Or they will. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah,
you have
again.
this massive round buffer. You understand that GODSENT are still just barely on the cusp of rebuying. So why not? Throw it all to the wind. In fact, Xantares isn't even going to have the AK. It'll be major tasked with that pressure, and maybe Space Soldiers just picking up the pace. Now, Disco Doplin's pushed very far up, and he's alone on this B-bomb site. So if he dies early, GODSENT could just find themselves without a B-site control whatsoever. Luckily enough, they hold them back. A small gap allows for Doplin to exploit it with a frag and damage done. Space Soldiers desperate at this point.
Down in the open as well. It's all falling apart. Engine and Calyx last 2 men up, but with it in the center of the site, this shouldn't be doable. More damage done by Engine, but the Molotov burns him out. Still, wallbang damage as well to add. And GODSENT keeping this one close. I like the boost. Send Calyx in for the flank again. They have to pull in a curveball. They can't just take engagements here, because that's what will allow GODSENT to take the round, and that's exactly what they do. Hampus another frag, and here's where the flank comes out from Calyx. He's made some noise, but I don't know if they've heard it. However, they should be aware. He hasn't peeked for a while. The bomb's in the center of the site. And Calyx, seems like no one's watching the angle. Oh, the timing for him. He peeks, and it's perfect. Cleans it up for GODSENT, keeps them in this map. But it's all a question of how long until Space Soldiers finish things off. How many rounds will it take before GODSENT make a mistake? I assume it won't be this one. We will see double digits from the Swedes, but again, Space Soldiers will be back in the rifles after that, and that's when it again gets dangerous. GODSENT have had pretty successful force buys, but when it comes to the buy rounds, it's been Space Soldiers all across the board.
They've also had pretty successful comeback attempts throughout the weekend, most notably, of course, Mirage yesterday versus Belgium. They tried it again on Nuke in the second map, but they fell a little short. So we know that they've been in these positions, and we know that they've succeeded before. We also know that this one should certainly secure the double digits on the Swedish side. I mean, in reality, they don't even have like a flashbang to try and push off of, so it's just going to be dry runs with a P250 on Engine. Kind of buy that works so rarely, Hugo. You don't even really give it a second thought.
But every now and then, it comes out and it wins, so you got to watch out for it. Although with one PT50, I'm not holding out. Hampus and Freddy kill each on the site. Xantares is well running on in, but here's a rotation. Somehow takes a kill there. That's such a Xantares frag. It doesn't make any sense. He shouldn't be allowed to get it, but he still does. Despe as well. Just silly here. GODSENT losing gunfights. Miss spray from Pith will cost him his life. But Despe, this is where he dies. Overrun here by CTs. Round going the way. GODSENT 10, as we said. But damage done that didn't need to be. Still, though, Space Soldiers are back in with the rifles. And GODSENT, they're not got an issue with money. They shouldn't do for the rest of this game. Until they lose, if that is the case. Certainly a likely outcome with Space Soldiers having this map pick. And having the round lead by a good margin still. Just rounds ago, it was, what, 15-7, 15-6? We were confident for Space Soldiers. It started to level out, but I don't think I'm worried until we hit the 13 mark.
Molotov instantly extinguished. Frag grenade is thrown by Pith, but still mid-control will fall to the hands of Space Soldiers. And Pith very hesitant to actually come in with this mid-peak. Might do so off of the flashbang just to spot Highway, but the players that are further back have actually convinced him not to extend, and that's a great idea. However, he might not realize that a man has gotten his way up Highway because he sees a shot come in from White Box and Boost. 2 players mid, that's pretty standard. But with a smoke grenade, they need to be very wary of Xantares' position. And Calyx, well, he wants to get himself into a spot to support. It's Freddy with a headshot on the A site, Pith with the follow-up frag, and that's going to leave the rest of the T's to be desperate towards this A site. The Molotov blocks off Squeaky, Hampus denies Despe, and so this one will dwindle down to a 2 versus 4. But Major then TKs and dies. Twist comes in on the flank, GODSENT with 11. Fantastic round versus the AKs. It really looked like Space Soldiers wanted to use mid-control, Hugo, but they didn't get much further than mid itself.
You hate to see it spraying through the smoke towards Car, kills his teammate, but GODSENT given a lifeline from that. Not only that, but good control towards middle as well. Nice way to retake the position. It was a dangerous spot to lose, but it will work out for them. Pistols in for Space Soldiers, and again, GODSENT continuing to build up the money. It's never going to be an issue here. Even if they lose players, they're winning rounds. And as I said, I'm not worried till 13. That's 2 rounds away. That's only 1 buy away as well. This should be 12. Engine attempts to sneak onto the site, but he goes down. Xantares is the only man to find a kill so far for this T-side, and he spots another. Hampus up in squeaky aggressive. Xantares, if he can get this kill, he can pull Space Soldiers into a realistic chance, and Hampus knows it. That's why he falls back. With the help of a flash, can peek main to get out of that position, but it's only a fallback from Despe, as Hampus falls back himself towards the MBK fence corner. Xantares trades with the M4, picked up from Squeaky, but with no armor. Aim punch is prevalent, and Hampus, he'll clean up with 3 kills here. The stand-in, well, the stand-in's doing very well, him and Pith. 12 rounds of Godsent. This is the buy that Space Soldiers need, otherwise we're going to 30.
You know, if Xantares had finished those 8 assists that he has, he'd actually be sitting on 44 frags. I've never seen someone get 50 kills. I've never casted a game with somebody on 50 kills.
Even in OT? Are you talking regular?
No, I'm talking regulation.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. You have to. The thing is, if you're getting 50 kills, it's usually because you're so good you're carrying rounds through. But if you're carrying rounds through, it ends in 15, 16 rounds, right?
Yeah.
And you don't get a chance. So it's got to be a really close game, and you've got to be putting up so many kills on ecos and still losing rounds.
I feel like the day I do see it, I'm willing to bet it will be Xantares.
No surprise.
Let's go for a mid boost, says Space Soldiers. 2 players up trying to duel versus Disco.
The dance floor open in mid.
Hampus tried to occupy it, but decides to actually fall back towards A. I'm not sure what reason Godsent think they needed to go and hold off on mid, or A rather, excuse me. Because it's actually in that moment then that Space Soldiers exploit the mid control. They fire off vent to prevent any peek if in fact players boosted, but they didn't go for a boost on B. What they actually do is put Twist in a very forward position. He will hold the sunroom, a very effective position to try and skewer men in checkers, but right now it's Xantares to find a headshot through smoke. Why not? And Freddy B's going to get burned out of the corner, so Disco Doplin's kill here is crucial. Oh, and he himself with another through smoke. That's now the 3 versus 2. Engine and Calyx, sure enough, on site will find their bomb plant. The plan's still coming to somewhat of a fruition. Twist, because he was pushed up, is already positioned on A main, so Pith needs to stay alive on 12 HP. Disco Doppler needs to apply pressure and start clearing corners off the flash. Calyx peeks, and he will find 1 kill. But Twist now reveals himself with utility thrown. Calyx stops it, Twist burns 1, and it's a 1 versus 1 for the game. Calyx on an AK, Twist with a Deeg, up close, trying to find the angle. He peeks out wide, he fires off, but it's not enough. It's Space Soldiers with map 1. They'll finally take it. Force Wars back and forth for a little while in that second half, but then ultimately, Godsent, try as they might, they do fall. Understandably so, seeing as Space Soldiers had 15 quite early on.
Yeah, and while Xantares, he was the man of that match without a doubt. Calyx put up 4 kills in the final round, so good performance from him to drag them through it after a few in a row from Godsent. And again, if they lost that round, it would have come all the way to 30, given the way that Space Soldiers would have been ecoing. Maybe a bomb plant could have forced an early buy, but still came very, very close. So Godsent, good attempt to pull it back. They did that before on Nuke. They had their struggles